Alright, so we have War 3 of the season here. I'm repeating this thing fight, and as you already know if you've clicked on this video, this is a long one. I took a lot of fights this war. It just happened to line up, and it's probably going to continue to line up with this team because Reed is so good this season. He pairs so well with Doom, and Magneto House of X lets both of them go places they otherwise couldn't while being very good in his own right. As some of you know, if I had gotten a mutant gem from Eternity of Pain, I was planning to take Magneto up. This war does a good job of proving why. Anyway, same basic idea as last time. We do not use the suppression pre-fight because that makes it harder to control things rock stacks properly, but we do use Petrify and Debuff Siphoner. Petrify is controlling the healing for us. Debuff Siphoner is kind of doing that by being another debuff for the purposes of Despair, and it is allowing Reed to hit harder. It's not really doing anything else here. As we talked about in the last one, because Reed's attack is being modified fairly heavily here, we fully expect to trigger protection a good amount of the time. See, there it is on the heavy. That's just baked into this fight. The point is that Thing will not be healing, so we don't have to worry about that. And we will be building up to our special 3 while doing decent damage, and then the special 3, if thrown while protection is on cooldown, does a really good amount of damage to speed up the fight. So until then, it's pretty much just controlling rock stacks. Notice that I'm not really worried about building my careful study passives. It would be nice. It does make this fight that much easier because you get to the special 3 faster, but it's not necessary. The important thing is managing rock stacks because that makes you less likely to use your debuffs. That, of course, makes you less likely to get hit. That is the goal. So like we said, the special 3 itself, if thrown while protection is on cooldown, does very well. As we can see here, this was a pretty big amount of overkill by the time we got to it. So, moving on to the next fight, we have King Groot on Masochism over time. Doom is going to apply shocks to him. That's going to trigger Masochism. He's going to heal a bunch. None of that matters because Doom is very quickly going to get buff control online and be able to just stagger everything away and go through his usual cycle and get to his special 3, get that big ol' fury, and just do a ton of damage. That's all there is here. We'll get some staggers where we can on the way because that's just that much healing that we otherwise don't have to deal with. But notice that I am not at all concerned with really managing anything other than my own power. I didn't use the Magneto House of X pre-fight here because triggering Masochism is not a problem, and it's also unavoidable with Doom's shocks on his mediums. And look how much damage we've already done just after the first special 2. This is all that matters here. Didn't perfectly Doom cycle there, but it just doesn't matter. He of course throws this special 2 when he can, but Doom's block proficiency and armor is arguably too high. It does nothing. And now we have another special 2, or another special 3. Double Fury. Doesn't quite finish him off, but I think we just need, yep, 1 medium. Cool, almost 18,000 on that medium. Gotta love it. So moving on to Venom. In another season, this would obviously be a Doom fight, but Planetary Endurance is going to make him immune to Stagger and Nullify. And so while you can technically take that fight with Doom, you can kind of lean more on the Power Steal and intentionally give Venom a lot of flourishes so that you can more easily Doom cycle. Personally, I think that that is not remotely worth it when I have a rank 5 Reed, so I'm going to go ahead, use all of my pre-fights. I know that Petrify and Suppression are going to be eaten by Masochism, but I have to use the pre-fights if I want to be able to use them later on the Special 2. We're going to Power Start so that we can get to it quickly and get them online. But this is going to be pretty simple. We're Tactic. We're going to be able to control Venom. He's going to heal at the beginning, and as soon as we get to our Special 2, we're basically never going to have to worry about him healing ever again. Now, I gotta admit, I have no idea why I threw that special too, because while it was the plan to go straight to the special 2, it was also the plan to do so after he threw a special to put Masochism on cooldown. So, good thing I decided to throw on power back boosts because I haven't taken this exact fight before, because it got me that much closer to my next special 2, and this time I actually waited for him to throw a special. Now we have a Petrify up. That's all I needed. Nothing else in this fight really matters. I just wanted to get my debuffs online. Once you have the first set, that special 2 was on purpose. We're just playing strike counter now. I don't care about stacking the debuffs. I just care about hitting him with specials, keeping him from healing, which the tactic is doing a good job for us, and hitting him until he falls over. Notice he got an armor there because our buff control did kind of fall off. Totally fine. We could have sidestepped into a special after the special lock fell off. That was still an option for us. If we needed another special, the fight was not over, but we didn't end up needing another special because Reed was just hitting that hard by then. Moving on to this Knull. This is not my favorite matchup for this particular Knull. Being half immune does often mean you end up doing some slightly sketchy stuff, but we had some scheduling issues this war. It was a holiday, people weren't available. It is what it is, but to make sure that we got through, I ended up just taking it with Doom. Notice I do hit in during Incinerate there, and that's because I don't want to lose my debuffs from Reed. They are going to make the fight that much easier for me. I figure with all of the healing I'm doing from Living Abyss, even blunted by Despair as it obviously is, it is worth me keeping access to those debuffs and taking a little damage by doing so. But of course, when we are in the shock mode, then I am going to be more aggressive. I'm going to try and get up to my special 3 here. I could have responded to that double combo, and I didn't. It's my fault. But we do get up to our special 3, and this is going to be the beginning of the end of the fight. Going to do a ton of damage here. Trying to keep him only to throwing special 2s by blocking and baiting heavies. We really do not want to deal with the special 1, because that is going to put a time, a time crunch on us, and that is going to make it harder to play around Hazard Shift with a single immune. So, don't want to do that. There we go, hit into him, take one more Incinerate, but again, focusing on keeping the debuffs up. Did not mean to block as much of that as I did. You can see that the aggression prowess really did hurt a little bit, more than the Hazard Shift, unfortunately. It's fine. Like I said, this is not a perfect matchup, but it is a decently fine one, and that is what we're seeing here. We're going to go ahead, dodge a few more heavies, just bide our time until Hazard Shift swaps, and there we go, special 3. This should allow us to fix it, because we have the full shock mode, like the full timing of that to wail into him. We have the big Fury. I think just the special 1 does it. I don't even get to the special 1. There you go. Could have taken less damage, for sure. Blocking that special 2 hurt. But it's a fine counter. I believe I've done that fight before in previous seasons. Anyway, moving on to this Doom here. This is a rank 5 Doom. I think it's the first one I've taken with Reed thus far. It is Power Snack, which could be an issue. It is going to put shocks on us. But the important thing is that we're going to be turning off his aura. And having that Petrify means that we are reducing the power gains from Power Snack, as well as the Mystic Dispersion that would trigger when he nullifies our buff. So both of those are going to do pretty well. I have no idea why my block just dropped there. Maybe I thought the opening was a parry. I don't know. It's been several days since this fight. Not going to worry about it. That's what potions are for. So anyway, we're going to go ahead, get a knockdown here. Note that our suppression debuffs are actually helping us with the Power Sting node because we are not pushing him over bars as much. So we're basically able to trigger it, get the advantage from willpower, from the power sting, and then not really have to worry about it coming back before we get to our next special. So that part is nice. But yeah, eating that combo right out of the gate hurt. Doom has a very high attack value. Thankfully, we have all of these debuffs on the opponent. I always run max inequity, and Reed is tanky, so it wasn't any worse than it is. There we go, we trigger Power Snack. It actually reduces his power. We're healing from the shock because we have 3 debuff siphoners up. And now we have the passive. I mean, this fight is completely under control at this point. It's just a question of can we get out of it cleanly without taking any more hits and only healing from shocks and power stings. There we go. Now we have our own special 3. This is going to do a ton of damage. I forget if this finishes it or not quite, but the Fury fully ramped like this is counting 12 debuffs on the opponent. It's a pretty big Fury. Yep, that's enough. More than enough. So then I'm going to go ahead and heal and move on to Wong. And this is actually the part of the plan that I did not fully process. Despite this happening to somebody else in my battle group last season, I did not really think about the Wong Crossfight. Because if I had, I probably would have played this fight that you're about to see a little bit differently. Because remember, it's if you end the fight, I believe, while Wong has more than a bar of power, then in the next fight that character takes, the opponent gains a bar of power and a Fury. We're going to talk about why that matters in a few minutes. But for now, I was just focused on this being a very simple Reed fight. The passive prowess there is going to hurt if he somehow hits us with a special, but he shouldn't hit us with a special. There's very, very little in this fight that Reed cannot control. We're allowing our manual or our auto evade to take over instead of dexing because we don't want to trigger the unstoppable from his blue mode. We're parrying a lot. We're watching the Eldritch Energy because we know when he gets to 90 we can't use normal combos, but there we go, we diffused it. And this is the problem right here. Oh yeah, I really actually couldn't have played that much differently because I was baiting a special and he got killed by willpower being reversed. So I guess that wasn't really within my control. Crossfight on Reed. There we go. Here's what it is. Anyway, we move along to this Scorpion. I've taken this before. Again, as I've said, you can just turn on Max Pacify and parry heavy with this the whole way through, the same as you do with normal Magneto. It works extremely well. The only reason that I don't personally do that is because most of the time, I don't get parried after the opponent throws a full combo and lose a good third of my health out of the gate. Most of the time, I avoid that particular brand of stupidity. And so this fight feels better than it does right now. This was honestly a fairly sloppy war for me. We were traveling on the road throughout the day on Monday, and I just was not at my all-time best. So that's what you see here. But besides that, we're turning off most of what he does. We turn off most of what the node does. And it's basically just Magneto, House of X, doing his thing against a metal champion. Hitting hard, big specials, all that matters. Now, if I was truly being fancy, I probably would have parried that special too, and gotten a Petrify, and I would have bet that we healed from it. Because I could have. But it would have put, or it likely would have put a passive disorient on us and then just made this thing that I'm doing where I'm pushing to the special 2 by blocking that much harder, and it just wasn't worth it. Plus, if I'd missed and actually eaten the special 2, that would have been a really embarrassing way to die. Yeah, guys, I had the fight completely under control, but I decided to save a few potions and ate a special 2 to the face. Don't do that. Anyway, one last intercept and there we go. Fight was totally fine after the first 10 seconds. moving on to Sasquatch here. I have taken this before with Doom. You're going to see it again here. I don't think this one is as clean as the one from War 2. If I remember correctly, we will see very quickly. I mean, this is a very good fight for Doom, but a lot of it comes down to basically when does Sasquatch go into Wrath, and how rude does he feel like being? But our goal, of course, is to get to the Special 3, to throw it to do a bunch of damage, and then basically to wait out the Wrath of Tanarak we know is coming, and then to do the same thing again and finish him off from there. So that is probably the scariest part of the fight thus far, because you really, really, really do not want to eat the last hit of the Special 2. That is what almost killed me last season. Don't do that. Be careful. Better to block it than to mess up what I just did. Anyway. Gonna do a bunch of damage here. Gonna go ahead and, I think, throw this? No, I guess I bait this out. There it is. That's fine. I guess I decided that I had done enough damage that it was better to just wait for Wrath and not throw a Special 2 that was going to deal with all those protection stacks. Yeah, that's fine. And then I throw the Special 3 even though he was in Wrath because I didn't want to lose my debuffs from Mr. Fantastic. I stand by that. Don't stand by that. Clearly I just messed up playing Quake at the corner. Not awesome. And then I lose the debuffs anyway. So yep, that's what I remembered. This was not nearly as clean as last time. So I've lost my invulnerability, and at this point, with the way this fight goes, and the fact that it's not over yet, and he's now inching his way towards yet another Wrath, I just assume I'm going to eat a Special 3 at some point. But I did not eat a Special 2, so I still have most of my health, and so I'm not really worried about eating a Special 2, or a Special 3. My focus at the moment is just get this down, eating no more than one Special 3, because I know I can survive one. Honestly, I probably should have just tried to push to the Special 3 there, even knowing Wrath might be on its way. And get the double Fury, because I think that would have gone better. I think that's actually a bit of a mistake on my part. Well. And he's taking his sweet time to go into Wrath, so you know that this one is just going to take forever. Yeah, and he has so much power here. I was hoping that just might get me over the line, but it does not. And honestly, I didn't really expect it to. That was just kind of a Hail Mary to give myself as much power as possible. It would have been nice to have held on to the Reed pre-fights, because then we would have had an equity on our side, and that would have hurt less. But that's okay. This is going to be a short Wrath, because he only is in it because of the Special 3. We can wait this out. And now this one is going to go better. This should be the end of the fight. He has no protection stacks. We have our Special 3. We're going to be able to Doom Cycle right into the Special 2. This should finish it off. So not as good as the last one, but I don't know. Hopefully a teachable moment here. And boom. Despair helps keep his healing under control while the Incinerates do their work, and there we go. So moving right along, now we have this Mangog. This is the one that I forgot to record previously. Oops, that's fine. We knew we would get another chance. But remember that Crossfight from Wong? As I have called out before, it's really important to remember the way that this node works with enhanced power gain. Normally that Crossfight gives a bar. On node 54, it gives 3 bars of power. Thankfully, Reed's pre-fight kept that down to 60% of max power, so just under 2 bars. But then Mangog's own natural power gain took it to 2, so we came out of the gate immediately eating a special 2. But that is why you're seeing me block like this. Because when I died to this fight last season, the reason I died is because I never got my careful study passives up. And so the specials never stopped hurting. So the minute I ate that first special 2, I resolved to not let him throw a special 1. I was like, I'm going to make darn sure the next special he throws is another special 2. It's going to lock in the passive. It's going to do 75% less damage even if it hits me. Plus we'll have inequity going. I know I can survive a second one as long as it's in a row. If he throws a special 1 and then a second special 2, that's how I potentially die. But that didn't happen. We were able to get 2 special 2s in a row, and then he didn't throw anything else. So that was my war. A long one, but honestly it was a blast. I'm really, really enjoying this tactic, as I expected to. It made Reed better. I feel like I'm having a good time with Doom. It's letting me bring Magneto and just a bunch of really fun champions. Having a great old time. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We did end up winning this war as well, I should mention that. So that makes us 3-0 at the start of the season. And until the next one, thanks so much for watching, and take care.